No one thought this cat would find a home after his extreme operation. Otitis is a strange name for a cat, but then again, Otitis was not your average feline. For the first 8 years of his life, he was just like every other cat. That was until the day when he came down with a tragic ailment that nearly cost him his life. The surgery was a success, of course, but poor Otitis soon lost one of his trademark features that made him a cat. Thankfully, his story didn't end there. Life had a few surprises in store for the 9-year-old feline. Otitis was just an ordinary, healthy house cat with a loving family. Like many furry pets, he sat in boxes, he played with cat toys, and he had an unhealthy relationship with catnip that he was finally getting some real help for. That is, until the day he started to develop cysts inside his ears. These cysts caused him a terrible pain, so much so that he stopped playing entirely. It got so bad that he barely moved at all sometimes. The family was left with no choice. With no way to afford the surgery he needed, they had to put the poor kitty up for adoption. Otitis' family surrendered him to the Feline Rescue Association of Baltimore. They were more equipped to deal with his oral condition and were most likely to be able to place him with another loving family once they'd helped him as best they could. That is, if they could help him. Thankfully, the staff at the shelter managed to raise enough money for Otitis' surgery. There was just one problem. The cysts had become too infected, and his ears would have to be removed entirely. Once the burden of his ears was gone, however, Otitis' mood improved dramatically. He was finally on the mend. The loss of his ears had left the 9.5-year-old kitty completely deaf, and yet he seemed to be thriving. He stayed with a foster family for a few months while he waited a new family to come and adopt him. But what kind of household would want an old cat with no ears? Miley Lichtenwalder was a young woman looking for companionship. She'd been through an ordeal of her own when a car accident had left her experiencing bouts of extreme anxiety. Having grown up with animals all her life, Molly knew that a lovable kitty cat would be just the thing to help her through the bad times. She had no idea what lay ahead of her. Molly had grown up on a farm when she was a youngster, and as such had experienced her fair share of barn cats and assorted animal companions. She had even owned a deaf sheepdog in her younger days and found that she liked caring for animals that needed a little bit of extra love and help. She went on petfinder.com and read about Otitis, a 9-year-old special needs cat with a severe deformity. It was like love at first sight. When Otitis popped up, I knew he was the one, she said. Immediately, she reached out for the Rescue Association and asked about his behavior. What she found out was that Otitis was a friendly cat who didn't seem to let his deafness or lack of ears get him down. She also discovered that while many people asked about him, no one ever put in an adoption for him until she showed up. As soon as she met Otitis in person, Molly took him home. He was nervous at first, unfamiliar with Molly and his new house. It was understandable. He was bereft of one of a cat's most important senses. Yet not a day later, he came out of his shell. He warmed up to her immediately. Before long, he was snuggling up to his new forever human, and she needed it just as much as he did. Molly had been suffering from severe anxiety as a result of her car accident. In the past, nothing had worked to quell that feeling of nervousness like the cuddles of a furry friend. As it turned out, Molly had been right about Otitis. He knew that Molly had rescued him and was all too happy to show his appreciation through helping her as well. Molly's not alone either. There are people these days who use emotional support animals to calm feelings of awkwardness or anxiety. These animals can be cuddly friends like dogs or cats, but can also be parrots, rabbits, snakes, lizards, and even ponies. It all depends on what works for you and how empathetic they are. Some, like Otitis, are extremely empathetic. Molly loved her new friend's incredible sense of empathy. According to her, Otitis could always tell when she was going through a rough patch and would come over to console her by snuggling up against her and purring loudly. "He's by far the best thing that ever happened to me," said Molly of her new feline friend. She even remembers waking up from a nightmare one night to find Otitis sleeping on her pillow. Her heart was thumping in her chest, and the cat seemed to sense it, going as far as to walk from her pillow onto her chest until her heartbeat went back to normal. Otitis knows how to help his new owner whenever she's stressed or having a panic attack, and responds calmly as if he'd been working as a care animal his entire life. Molly's admitted that Otitis is sometimes the only thing that can calm her down when she's having an anxiety attack. even before her therapist. Today, the two new friends have formed a perfectly symbiotic relationship. He's the best thing I ever did, and he definitely rescued me. I didn't rescue him. He rescued me, says Molly. And it's not just his incredible animal empathy either that makes Otitis a delight to have around the house. Despite being 10 years old and deaf, Otitis is no slouch when it comes to being playful. He's still as active and affectionate as he ever was. Without the pain of his ears and the sorrow of his situation in the adoption center, the cat has really opened up. He's even more inquisitive than he ever was. Otitis' attitude has been described as both sassy and very loving. He loves people and doesn't go running and hiding as you'd expect a deaf, slightly abused cat to do. It seems his old age and his trials have calmed him down quite a bit and helped him to trust others. He's even kicked that catnip habit for good. All in all, it's a happy ending. Each year, approximately 2.7 million dogs and cats are killed because shelters are too full and there aren't enough adoptive homes. Thankfully, Otitis didn't become a statistic and was able to benefit from the love and kindness of strangers to get him well again. Otitis is just another reason that you can't tell a book by its cover. While it's sad that Otitis had to leave his original family and that he lost his ears to a terrible ailment, it's comforting to know that he's found a perfect home and a perfect owner. There's a place for everyone and everything, even old, no-eared cats with great attitudes and uncommon empathy.